Positive Solutions with Dr. Gordon is a podcast which focuses on contemporary social and educational issues from an educational leadership and behavioral research perspective. We will delve into those issues that are important to you as we listen to understand the needs of others and positively respond to address those needs, concerns, and/or fears. Professionals in their respective fields of expertise, in addition to friends of the podcast, will share their unique perspectives of positive solutions to what matters to you most. Join us every Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central Time, as we share positive solutions to those issues that are important to you.
A very pleasant good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Positive Solutions with Dr. Gordon. And as you can see, we have two familiar faces here with us this afternoon. We have none other than, of course, yes, Liz Oleksa, who was on our last episode and our 2 episodes ago last month, and then, of course, in our first season. And yes, we have none other than Lilly Thompson, also known as Mary Starshine. She was in the first season, and she's back on with us again. So if you didn't get a chance to see that first season, I highly recommend that you do so. This is back in December, where she had some fun tips as to how we can enjoy the Christmas holidays. Well, we're talking again about a little different topic, and it's basically dealing with happiness. And so from the standpoint of a life coach and also as a client, we'll broach what it means to receive the support and empowerment that we need to enhance our social emotional well-being as we continue the conversation as to how we can do so. So ladies, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. So, and I'm trying to work on using that word absolutely out of context. And so I have some friends of mine, some English majors who are counting how many times I use that word. So I just caught myself saying that. So I'll just throw that out there. I'm putting myself on blast to hold myself accountable. I'm editing myself as we speak. But no, it's a great pleasure to have both Liz and also Mary back with us again to share what the steps are on how we can seek the support that we need. Sometimes we go through some challenges in life, not sometimes, we do go through challenges in life. And when do we get to that point where we say, you know what, I need someone to assist me along life's journey, because it's a team effort, and sometimes we try to go it alone, and there's a lot of noise out there, and so we need some support sometimes. And so I'll start with Mary first. What was it like to get to that point, or what happened that brought you to the point where you said, you know what, let me reach out to Liz and receive that extra support that I need to continue my navigation through life?
Right. Well, as you know, COVID has been very difficult for many people. And for me, I didn't feel it was really bothering me very much until I reached about 2 months ago, and it got to me. Now, I want you to know, and this is personal, but it's helpful to know this. I've been in therapy, but my therapist graduated me out of therapy 3 months ago because he said, you've got this all together now. Well, it's interesting because I didn't have it all together. Emotionally, I did. However, I was in a place where I felt I had no life goals, no purpose, no meaning, no direction. And I thought to myself, I think I know somebody that can help me. And I thought about Liz. Now, Liz is a good friend of mine, and she and I are very close. And I think there was a little bit of intrepidation on her part in the very beginning, maybe because we knew each other so well. And in the coaching world, sometimes they recommend that you do not coach your friends. But she and I felt we were different. And we decided that we would take this on and work as a team together. And what happened was, Liz turned out to be not only exactly what I needed, but what I needed at the very moment that I asked her to help me. And I thought I would never need a life coach. I thought that was kind of a silly thing to do. But here I was thinking, I think I need a life coach because my life is meaningless right now. So she took me through step by step with encouragement and accountability and love and holding my hand, patting me on the back, you know, what a coach would do to get me through where I am now. And I have transformed into some wonderful things right now, but maybe I should save that for Liz to talk about. I don't know. I don't want to monopolize this conversation, but I'm thrilled that I've been working with Liz.
No, thank you for sharing that. And again, feel free to share as much as you choose to share. And I will sit back and allow both of you ladies to share what you feel is important and will be beneficial to those who might be listening or reviewing this podcast. And do you remember, Mary, though, what got you to that point? And again, feel free to share as little as you want to or as much as you want to, where you
Well,
said,
sure. What got me to that point was feeling kind of lost. And I wanted to be found. I wanted really to have some guidance because I felt I didn't have the tools or the skill to get myself through that. Now that might sound weird. I mean, I'm pretty grounded in my life and I'm quite happy. And I was quite content with my life the way it was, but I thought, this isn't what my life is supposed to be.
there's
And
much more you felt.
One of the things that happened was I lost the effectiveness of my voice. Now, today I'm having a good day and I've been taking care of my voice today and it's working pretty well. But I had bronchitis for 2 months and coughed those 2 months and I
Wow.
damaged the vocal cord and it didn't repair. And so I've had to give up my Mary Starshine presentation work, which broke my heart. And I had to give up my singing. My voice range is about 5 notes right now, and that's on a good day. So this happened to me, and that's why I felt kind of like I was wandering in no man's land.
No, I
And
understand. Yeah.
and I needed help, but I knew that I didn't need my therapist. I needed something else.
Correct.
So that's what drew me to, which led me to call her.
Right. I remember in the last time that we spoke, Liz, you shared the difference between a life coach and also a therapist. The therapist you mentioned will go back into the past to deal with whatever issues might be affecting a person in the present. However, the life coach deals with where you are right now and helps you to set goals to move you forward. So it sounds like what Mary is saying is that her identity was connected with her singing and also her Mary Starshine. I don't know what you call it. Help me out here. The Mary Starshine is not a show, but it's something that you did.
She's a persona
She's a
that
persona.
Lilly Thompson uses, and I use her to say silly things.
Right, and you would do presentations, for example, at senior retirement homes or different venues. And so you had to grieve the loss, so to speak, of...
Grieving the loss is exactly what I was doing.
Right. And so the different steps of that grieving process, there's that shock, the denial, the anger, the sadness, until we get to acceptance. And I think that's where Liz might have come through, but I don't want to put words into Liz's mouth. I'll let Liz share what it was like to have, Mary, my friend, to come to me to seek support. What was that like for you, Liz?
It was a powerful moment because even though I do this personal coaching, I'm still human. So we have doubts about whether or not it is something that we'll be able to be successful at in a given situation. And like Mary said, I was concerned because we already had a friendship established. But once we moved past that and said, both of us, that if we get to a point where we feel uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form, we'll just stop. And we were under that agreement with one another. And I think the big thing was there was so much more going on for Mary than she was able to realize, because she was, as she put it, stuck. She was stuck in this grief and this loss of the Mary Starshine persona, didn't know where to go, didn't really have any motivation to set goals because she didn't know what her goals would be, because Mary Starshine is what she's been doing. So we worked together and I sat down with her and we talked and we figured out what options we had available. And I say we because, as I've mentioned before, coaching is a relationship. It's not the client is doing all the work and, the coach is sitting here, you know, we're working together. I'm an accountability partner. I'm a support partner. So we did work together. We brainstormed together. But ultimately, Mary was the one that had to do the personal work to make those changes within herself. So as with any client or any person, I would always say, make a smart goal, a small achievable goal. So let's find some things that you want to get done that aren't related to Mary Starshine. Let's just talk about the house, for example. Is there anything you want to do in your home? And something that was mentioned was, I have this pantry that needs organizing. Great. But doing the whole thing was causing anxiety, and there was no motivation to do the whole thing. What would the reward be? You know, it's just the way the brain works. So we work through, do a shelf at a time, you know, and make a list of a to-do list is what we call it. You know, you write the things down, write down what you need to get done. When you accomplish that, you cross it off and you say, ta-da, I did it. You know, and that became something very powerful between Mary and me. I would text her or email her daily. How's your to-do list coming? Did you get everything crossed off yesterday? You know, I held her accountable. If she didn't do something, I didn't put her down, because I wouldn't want to be put down if I didn't accomplish something. There may be a reason for it. So we talked through the whole situation. How can we make these goals happen for you? So moving towards the bigger picture, after we started setting goals and doing the to-do list, and this really became a motivation for her. She loved doing the to-do list. And if I'm mistaken, Mary, please say so. But
I hope you had some rewards in there in between the to-do list. After you accomplished something, I hope you had something to celebrate.
And yes, we did. We constantly celebrated successes, whether it be, I am so proud of you. You know, just hearing that from somebody who, you know, cares and loves unconditionally can be unbelievably powerful. So I tried to share that, and, you know, she would set little goals for herself and make them bigger as she moved along. And just the feel good feeling of getting some of these goals accomplished was a reward in itself, because the body has this awesome ability to release endorphins and neuropeptides in the body, which increases your adrenaline and makes you feel good. It's like adding a smile into your life. You know, just that being able to smile and say, I did this, automatically makes you feel good. And that's a reward in itself.
It's having that sense of accomplishment that really feels really good.
Yes.
I can relate, because right now I'm in the middle of doing teacher evaluations, and it's not necessarily the number one top thing on the list of things that one would like to do, but it's necessary, and we all see the need for it. But getting it all accomplished, it feels really great. And then having those little rewards at the end also helps to motivate as well. And so that's what you're saying existed with Mary as she accomplished her to-do list. Mary, how did those to-do list, when you checked it off, how did that feel to you?
You know, it's really interesting. I didn't check them off. You know what, Vincent? I scratched those off when in the side of the paper. I got all the satisfaction I needed from marking, you know, scratching those off. I did.
It feels really good. Yes.
I didn't need a different reward. I really didn't. There was just this sense, as she said, a sense of satisfaction that, oh my gosh, I can accomplish the things that I really want to get done. And I mean, I've been retired since 2012. Okay. I think the only to-do list I have written was when we went on a trip and I needed to write down what I was going to pack. I mean it. I haven't done a list like that forever. It feels like forever, almost 10 years. And so it feels really good, because it helps me break things down and realize, and, you know, I put things on there like take a shower.
Yes.
I put stuff on there like drink 8 glasses of water.
The necessities, we sometimes might have to do that, because some of us might get caught up in the moment and we neglect those important things that might seem to be small, but they're huge. So,
well, it's not even that. It's more, listen, you'll laugh. It's more, I want to be able to scratch it off.
or kind of like making, or kind of no, or kind of like making your bed in the morning. Some folks say, make your bed in the morning, so that's at least something that you can scratch off. That's a sense of accomplishment that you've done that.
Yeah,
So
but I would never do that because I never make my bed. I would never scratch that off.
whatever works for you. So taking showers is number one, and so we approve that message.
It's not a priority for me.
The making of the bed, but the shower is, yes.
Yeah, the
just
shower is,
just as
yes.
clarifying there.
Yes. Oh, this is
moving
fun.
moving along those same lines, though, I was amazed with the transformation I was seeing in Mary, going from no motivation, no goals, to texting or calling or emailing and saying, I did this and this and this and this and this. Oh, and wait, I even did this. It's wonderful to actually witness this transformation. And the thing Mary and I were working on was mainly goals and life purpose, because she had to ease the Mary Starshine aspect out and grieve that as a loss. But in turn, we were able to transform her into something even more magnificent. And I wouldn't even say, I shouldn't say it that way, not more magnificent, but totally different. And just still shining, still full of that joy. But also, on the other hand, we accomplished other goals that we hadn't even set for ourselves, like creating more happiness and more joy in our lives by doing this work together. And for me, it's incredibly powerful to be able to say, you know what, I was able to support her in what transformation she needed, not what I wanted for her, because my life goals and purposes are different than what Mary needs. Everybody's are,
Correct.
so, working directly with her and what she wanted, and really digging deeper and saying, go ask the people you spend a lot of time with what some of your talents and skills are, so we can work on this and see what might work for you. And in turn, we found out more things and more possibilities than was considered before. And I think she's more motivated than I am at this point. And that's rare for me to find.
Right. I believe, listening to the conversation that that we're having and what you're sharing, is that Mary Starshine has become enhanced. Actually, it hasn't dissipated.
Absolutely.
It hasn't gone away. It has become enhanced, and your voice has been found in a different manner. And there are numerous ways in which we can utilize our voices. And you have a journey that you can chronicle. And Mary, you have a wonderful gift of a sense of humor, and sharing this journey, whether it's by writing a memoir or writing a book, or whatever, or continuing talking, or just sharing snippets, like a 10-minute presentation of this journey, would be very uplifting and encouraging to any number of individuals. Just podcasts, people listening to this and viewing this. I'm encouraged listening to you and seeing you, because you make me smile whenever you talk. You share things that I'm not expecting, and then you say something and it just makes me laugh. And so that's a gift. Some people try to be funny and they're not. You just are very matter of fact. So finding your voice in a different way, I believe, is what Liz has supported you in encountering. Would you say that's the same, or have you discovered something else differently? Or
Are you asking me?
Yes. Or are you not quite there yet? What do you think? I mean, well, first of all, how long has it been that Liz has been working with you? Has it been a week, 5 weeks, a month, which is
About
5
3
weeks?
months.
Okay.
Yeah, about 3 months.
About 3 months now.
So if you were to look back 3 months ago and compare it to where you are today, would you say you're the same? You're different? Where are you?
I kind of liked what Liz said, and then she took it back, and then I felt bad when she said that I was something about, what did you say? More marvelous? What did you say?
I said I think I said that more, I don't remember.
See, that's great. We both forgot what it was.
Yeah, we both forgot. No, but you're more incredible and more enhanced.
I
now.
like that. I liked really what Vincent said about Mary Starshine, and you have also said this, Liz. I didn't have to put her to sleep. I didn't have to
Yes.
lay her aside.
No, right.
I didn't have to put her to rest. I could find a way to still keep Mary Starshine in me, but find different ways to express myself if I couldn't use my voice. And so, yes, you mentioned this. Writing a memoir is something that is now part of my life purpose. And did I tell you what I thought the title would be?
Okay, wait for it, folks. Wait for it. Wait for it. Go.
You're listening to the podcast Positive Solutions with Dr. Gordon, which is uploaded weekly on Sunday afternoons at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central on your favorite podcast directory.
All right, here we go. Leaving trails of light and toilet paper.
Leaving trails of light and toilet paper. I get the leaving trails of light. I'm afraid to ask about the toilet paper part.
I will not tell that story. You would have to buy the book.
There you go. It's an attention getter. Leaving trails of light and toilet paper. See, that's what I'm saying. Just the title of the book alone causes one to smile. And no, Mary Starshine, of course not, is not going to be put to sleep or put to rest or pick whatever analogy. Okay, put it this way. If you go to an elementary school and you went into a first grade class, you would see the sizes of the desks to be of a certain size. True or false? They're small. True. If you were to go into a high school, those desks are a little bit larger. True or false?
False.
No, true. Well, if you go into a high school, the desk size we hope will be larger. The point is you're intended to grow. You're not intended to remain the same and in that same spot. So Mary Starshine is growing. Mary Starshine has outgrown that first grade desk, and Mary Starshine is blooming and blossoming and growing. So it's time for Mary Starshine to step it up to the next step, the next level. So that's the next level of greatness where you're going. So that little feeling of feeling uncomfortable 3 months ago, that was that little sand in that oyster shell that's creating that beautiful pearl that you're becoming. So it takes work.
A nice analogy.
Yeah, and so there's a beautiful pearl that Liz is helping to shape along with you because it's your journey. And so that now you are at this point 3 months later, and hey, watch out world, there's this beautiful pearl that's about to be unleashed or unfolded to the world to see. So
I like that. That's good.
That is beautiful.
I just had to add that little educational component in there. But yeah, you're intended, life is a journey, and you're not meant to remain stuck in that one little spot. And a number of folks feel stuck, stifled, smothered, stagnant. How is that for alliteration? But we need to grow. We need to grow. Because if we don't, what happens to water that stagnates? It smells, it stinks.
Mosquitoes.
Exactly. You want to keep flowing. You want it to grow. And so whenever we feel we have these moments of feeling uncomfortable or stuck, start celebrating, because that means that's a sign that it's time to grow. We're moving forward. We're growing. And so we grieve that little part of Mary Starshine when you're in first grade. It's kind of like, you're losing your baby teeth. It hurts sometimes, but then you grow into your adult teeth. Lots of analogies here, but you're growing. You're growing, Mary, and Liz is there to help you along, to support you along.
Yeah. One other thing that really doesn't feel like Mary Starshine is going to be too much involved in this one, but this is the other thing that has been a transformation for me. And that is doing hospice work with our local hospital. And I'm really looking forward to spending time with people at the end of their lives.
And that is needed, and their families also need that as well.
Families do, yes.
They will need that support and that feeling of strength and peace at a very challenging moment in their lives. So I can see how you would be a huge support and help and blessing to families.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm so proud of you for trying a new journey or a new path in your journey.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
So Mary Starshine has just grown into something else even bigger than what it was prior. So Mary Starshine still continues.
Absolutely.
She has been promoted. She's graduated. Watch out, world. I can't wait to see that memoir, that book.
I can't wait to write it.
I can't wait to listen to it.
There you go. Audible Books is our friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's just a beautiful, I like to call it a transformation. That's part of my personal motto, my personal logo for my coaching is transformation. I imagine a butterfly. When a caterpillar is just a caterpillar, it doesn't really know its purpose other than to go through this journey. And it takes time and patience to transform into the end result, which is a beautiful butterfly. And that can be any color, any shape, any form, but it's still a gorgeous transformation. And that's exactly what I've been witnessing with working with Mary, is just an unbelievably, beautifully incredible transformation. And it's been an absolute joy to work with her. It's brought me a lot of happiness in my life.
Right, you can't help someone else without helping yourself and bringing joy to yourself as well. And I like your analogy of the butterfly. The butterfly not only is beautiful, but it flies. It's not stuck on that one leaf or that tree where it's eating as a caterpillar to turn into a butterfly. It's gaining its nutrients so then it can fly and float anywhere it wants to. And that's where we see Mary Starshine she's in the process of doing that right now. You were saying something, Mary?
Oh, I forget what it was now. I have no idea what it was. It was in response to something. It was in response to something Liz said, and now I can't remember. I can't remember. It's not. It's gone.
No,
It's okay.
that is fine. We have lots of ideas that come to us, and we want to be able to share them. And sometimes it tends to get lost because another brilliant idea is taking taking root as well, waiting to bear fruit. Mary, what would you share with someone who might be where you were 3 months ago and they're a bit hesitant and they're a bit nervous perhaps, or they might be a bit lost, not knowing where to go or with whom they should speak? How would you hold their hand and encourage them?
I think the best way to do that is to explain your own journey and what happened to you when you chose to have a personal life coach. Now I might say to that person, this may not be your choice, but it's something that I had never considered, and it really has transformed me. I think that telling somebody your own story is a testimonial to what has happened. And I think if somebody sees, especially because I was kind of skeptical about life coaching, I didn't know, I was ignorant about it. I really didn't know very much about it, but I did know this. I knew that with Liz's coaching, if anybody was going to be able to help transform me, it would be Liz. I did know that. I didn't go to find another life coach. I went to her. And I knew I would feel safe with her.
Did it help because you knew her before? That also helped a little bit? So you trusted her?
I know what I was going to say. With Liz and me, one of the things that happened was it has added one more dimension to our relationship. I think that she and I both kind of look at each other in awe in what we have inside of us that we can share or that we can affect somebody else. That's what I was going to say, that there's another dimension to the relationship I have with her, which just enhances that friendship even more.
It helps, would you say it deepens the trust level as well, and also the respect
yes.
and the love? Yeah.
Absolutely. There are things that I would have shared with Liz because we were friends before, but there were things that I shared with her that were hard for me to share, or because I felt insecure about something, I was open to giving her my vulnerabilities. This is really what I'm trying to say. And there's a lot of trust in the relationship that we had, which made that easier for me with her than it might have been with somebody else. But nonetheless, I think that most coaches are trained to be sensitive as well as being encouraging and supportive and all the other things a coach is.
Correct.
I think one of the things that is really important, not just about the coaching relationship that I've had with Mary, but with any coaching relationship that I have, is confidentiality.
Correct.
And that trust in knowing that anything, no matter how big, no matter how small, anything that is shared with me doesn't leave me. I don't go talk to my best friend and say, oh, you'll never guess what Mary's at her session today. It's not like that. It's just like similar to that of a counselor, there's confidentiality that is followed and respected. And the only time that I would break confidentiality is with Mary's permission. For example, she agreed to come on today and share this experience with all of us. Or if she was in danger or in danger of harming herself or someone else. Otherwise, I would have no reason to truly break any of that confidentiality, which should make clients feel safe and that I can be trusted in what information they're sharing with me. Because unless I know the ins and the outs and how they work and their mind ticks, I can't really help or support or encourage to the best of my ability and my training.
Right.
So I think that's very important to keep in mind.
Right. And not only is honesty and trustworthiness important on the part of the life coach, but also the client as well. They need to be honest in sharing, because that's the only way they can receive the support that they need and might be seeking. So there's some vulnerable areas that they need to be willing to share with the life coach, because that's the only way in which the life coach can help them to set those SMART goals to accomplish the bigger goals that they may need in their life. So it's a trust and honesty on both ends, both for the life coach as well as for the client as well.
And I think you make a very good point. It's honesty and trust is for both the client and the coach, especially in terms of being able to truly make these life changes. One coaching session isn't going to change your life. It's the repetitive going back and practicing and working and trying new things, and that repetition that builds up the confidence and that trust. If we're not honest with ourselves about what's really going on, we're not really going to be able to grow, because we can't even trust ourselves.
Correct.
Do you see what I'm saying there?
You have to be honest to yourself first, and then be honest with the other person if you truly want the help.
It makes it so much easier to move forward and achieve other things along the way, and in the coaching journey and in your life journey. I think that's so important.
We mentioned a bit about SMART goals. And so it's an acronym for specific. The goal that you're setting has to be specific, because sometimes we have these huge goals. Well, how do you eat? Well, there was an elephant, but how do you eat a nice steak? Well, one piece at a time. You don't just inhale the whole thing. So it has to be very specific. Then M, it has to be measurable. When do you hope to start this goal? Get it started? When do you hope to see a midpoint and then an end point? And then it has to be A, attainable. It's doable. We can get it done. And of course, it has to be reasonable as well. And then T has to be time sensitive. So would you agree with that, Liz? That's for the SMART goal?
Absolutely. And I base my coaching practices in that fashion, in the SMART goal sense. Also, I do have a time frame for coaching. My minimum is 6 weeks, because like I said, you're not going to see something overnight. It's one coaching session isn't a cure-all. It is practice and repetition. But we put a time frame on it so that we know, okay, we need to achieve this in this amount of time. And it really enhances and strengthens the bond between the client and the coach, but also the confidence in the client themselves as they move forward.
Right. I remember when the life coach came to the school, both the high school and the junior high school. Um, that's when I wrote a grant, and she was able to be paid to do the services to for our faculty and staff. She met with them for like an hour during their prep periods, and for some, she met with them after school, and then it was over a period of time for 6 weeks. And before that, there's something that she called an intake, where she got to know them. There's like a little paperwork that she had them complete to get to know who they were, and that's where you had the Kleenex tissues and the paper towel there, because sometimes when you start sharing, it does touch on it pulls on the emotional strings, and that's fine too, that's okay. And so some people just needed to just vent and to share. And the life coach was able to listen and then understand where the person was, and then to begin the process of helping them to create SMART goals over the period of 6 weeks, where they just met with her once a week for 1 hour. And I'm just breaking it down like this for those who might be listening and wondering, well, what do I have to commit to in doing, if I need a life coach, what do I have to do? It was just once a week for 1 hour for 6 weeks. And that's doable. And to make it easier, and so that no one had any excuse, because sometimes we need the help, but then we come up with a lot of excuses. She came to the school and met the faculty and staff there, and there's a room in the library at the junior high school, and then she utilized my office at the high school, where there was privacy, and the teachers and the staff members were able to meet with her just for that hour in a safe place. And so she came to them. They didn't have to leave to go somewhere to her. So it was accessible and it was easy, and many of them received the support that they needed. And there was a waiting list of other faculty and staff members that wanted to join, but we were unable to continue it because the grant had run out. But I see what you're sharing, Liz, that it's very specific and measurable, and it's doable as well. So for those who might be listening, who might be struggling a little bit right now, similar to what Mary shared with us, and thank you so much, Mary, for sharing that, where you might feel lost, or you might feel like you're grieving the loss of something that was dear to you, you get to learn that you're perhaps maybe not just grieving that thing, but also helping to enhance what you might have had or where you were in life, and that life coach is there to support your new progress as you continue to grow. Are there any other tangible tips that you can share, Liz or Mary, for those who might still be navigating and still trying to figure out if this life coaching thing is something that they might want to consider?
Sure. There's a few that I would like to mention, and Mary can chime in too. She's been an integral part of this for my life. But it's important to surround yourself with people that love, encourage, and support you for who you are and not who they want you to be. Now, let me repeat that. It's important to surround yourself with people who love, support, and encourage you for who you are, not who they expect you to be. So people aren't in your life because they want you to be somebody else. They should be in your life because they love you exactly the way you are. If they don't, they're not really worth your time, because that can bring you down and hinder you from moving forward. Surrounding yourself with honest people, people who smile, people who laugh. It's one of the main reasons why, I don't want to say the main reason, one of the reasons why I have such a great connection with Mary. She has this light. She has this light and this joy and this glow to her being and this unconditional love. And that's what I want to feel everywhere I go. So I use her to help and support me in my own journey. My companion, Remy, my son, Logan, I surround myself with people who I know will pick me up and help keep me and accept me for who I am. That's so important no matter where you are in life. But laughing, finding people who will laugh with you. I mean, what's better than a baby belly laughing? I mean, I really would like to know. I could sit for hours listening to those little videos on YouTube about the baby's belly laughing, sitting on top of the dryer, or just giggling. There's something contagious about it, and it brings so much joy. You can find that in people around you, and Mary has that. Mary brings that out in so many people. And that's one thing that drew me to her originally too, was her laughter. It's contagious.
I can contest to that. Yes, like I said, Mary was on the show back in December, and so I can't even think about it without laughing myself. As we talked about, those fun things that individuals can do in getting ready for, not just for Christmas only, but just to lighten up and to laugh and to enjoy life. And actually, it's a biblical principle, because it does say laughter do it like a good medicine. So hey. Laugh, or you could take the medicine and not laugh. I mean, that's your choice too. But it seems like we're talking about happiness here. And I believe the last time we spoke, Liz, you shared that you were certified not just only as a life coach, but there are various categories, and one of them was happiness. So we get the life coach training, we got the life coach assistance and support as a client. And would we say that the end result then also is to just feel a little bit better and happier than we were? And what are maybe some pointers and tips? You mentioned one, which is to surround yourself with people who love to laugh. And we're not talking about, laughing at someone else's demise. We're just talking about someone who is joyful and at peace with themselves and confident within themselves, and who can share a story, a funny story, an appropriate funny story that just brings a smile to one's face.
Right.
Just slip that in there.
He said about being appropriate, and all of a sudden my mind went blank. I have no stories to share.
We're not going to ask Mary to share any.
Keep in mind, I've done presentations for people who are, average age is like 92. And so I know how to be appropriate.
No, we're not suggesting that you don't. Yeah.
Yes, you were. You were suggesting that I didn't know how to be appropriate.
She can be very appropriate, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm just concerned, do I have to change the YouTube channel to, not suitable for kids? Just give me a fair warning. No. See, we're laughing. We're having fun. We're just joking here, folks. We're just teasing. But like Liz shared, just finding individuals with whom you can have a good conversation and laugh and smile with each other. So that's one that you mentioned about becoming happy by the individuals with whom you surround yourself. We would sometimes may work in have a toxic relationship, maybe at work or maybe even at home, that there may be a toxic relationship that exists. And so perhaps finding a support network might be needed. So would you agree that seeking those positive means might also be beneficial to individuals who might feel stuck?
Absolutely. And that's another area that coaching can assist with, is helping you work through that uncomfortable relationship at work, looking into the whys. What's your big why? Why are you so uncomfortable or unhappy there or in said relationship? And I think one of the things that most people really don't grasp fully enough or deeply enough is happiness is not other people. Happiness is not a relationship. Happiness is not necessarily a place or a physical tangible item. The best, coolest car. You may feel a sense of happiness when you're near that, but true happiness comes from within. And in order to be able to be content with whatever it is that surrounds you, no matter what the situation, positive or negative, it's important to be able to find that core happiness that lives inside each of us. And I think that it's important to really evaluate our lives as individuals. And if you're struggling with that, that's something that a coach can work with you on as well. There's so many different aspects of where coaching can help, assist, support, empower in whatever ways you may need, especially with struggles that you may be having, because maybe it's not I should say, life is a matter of perspective. And if we choose to interpret a situation in one way over another, that may lighten things up a little bit or make it more positive, make it a happier feeling for us when we're in a said situation. And it's really important to learn those things.
Having a growth mindset helps.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. And not being afraid to be the one to raise your hand and be like, you know what? I'm not okay right now. I need I need some type of support here. I can't do this alone. And that, humans were meant to be with other people. We're meant to be with other human beings. And joy can be found in those moments when we're at peace with ourselves and what's going on around us.
Brian, you just gave a good definition of joy. That's from within, whereas happiness is based upon happenstance, what's happening at maybe that moment. And it's just finding that inner joy. And as a life coach, there's also, I remember seeing a wheel of the various aspects of a person's life that the life coach touches on. So there's also that component of spirituality as well. And based upon that individual's background, you would help guide them along those paths as well, if that background would lead them to finding their happiness and true joy based upon the belief system that they might have. Just getting them back in tune with their roots, their spiritual roots. So there's that as well, that component.
I like how you worded that it can be viewed as a wheel, the different layers. Originally, I used to call it the happiness onion because you peel off the layers to get to joy in the middle, but that idea just stinks. So I like, oh, you got that. I like to look at it as a Tootsie Pop.
A Tootsie Roll, okay.
A Tootsie Pop on the stick.
Okay.
Because how many licks does it take to get to the center? It takes a lot of effort because you can't just crunch down and get to the joy without breaking all your teeth.
Yeah, that would hurt.
And the Tootsie Roll in the middle is the joy here. But it takes work, and it takes peeling off the extra outer layers of that to get to the joy. And you can stand up straight, you can stand up tall with that joy on a stick, which is standing straight up to, and just be like, you know what? I'm here. I'm in joy. I'm living joy. And, those layers can be your desires for life, your ideas and limiting belief systems that we've built into ourselves as we grow and learn from those around us that adults tried to instill in us as children. Those were their beliefs and values. And as we grow, we tend to take on societal and cultural beliefs and values, which helps mold us into who we are. And that builds ego and identity. And when we start bringing in all of these different aspects, it's like throwing a whole bunch of information at the brain and saying, okay, memorize this now. You can't. You have to peel it off and work with it until you get to that gooey, wonderful center of joy.
But on your way to it, though, it's not just about the destination. Like you mentioned in our last conversation we had, Liz, it's about the journey and enjoying the journey as well. Because, using that illustration of how many licks does it take to get to the core of the Tootsie stick, there's sweetness along the way too until you get to the middle of that. So you can enjoy life's journey. You can enjoy life's journey as you get to that destination of whatever that big goal might be. And I see Mary Starshine, she's on her pathway to that big joy that she's hoping to see in her memoir, and working with individuals in hospice and providing additional support to families there who might not see a reason at that moment to even want to smile, but just that encouraging word or a comment or phrase or just the presence of someone or a smile might be just the thing that helps. And so, Mary, you're on your way to doing that. And, thanks to Liz for providing that additional support. And that brings happiness. How do you feel right now, Mary, today, at this very moment? How do you feel?
Talk about joy and happiness. I agree with Liz that I think happiness is also something that you have to feel inside before you can acknowledge that something makes you happy. I think that as soon as people look at another person and say, you make me so happy, this is not a healthy place to be. I'm really happy, and I'm so glad to share my life with you. You know, there's a difference between saying, you make me so happy. That puts an onus or a burden on somebody else then, that they have to do it all right.
Mhm.
Because if they don't do it all right, then you're not going to be happy. And they don't, and other people
I
don't have
really
that
agree with
control
you
over
on that.
you.
I
They just-
agree with that heavily, Mary. That's such
Yeah.
a strong, healthy point. It's like happiness is within me and you're a bonus. So let's keep you on the picture.
Yeah, and you're a bonus, right?
Yeah,
And I
I
let me
like
share
that.
my happiness with you. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
So for right now, I'm feeling very happy. I'm feeling a lot of joy just for being here with you two and doing this and sharing with the world about my transformation. I feel blessed that I've been able to share that. And Vincent, I thank you for the opportunity to do that. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on and for agreeing to be here. And I'm trusting that you are very happy, not because of your favorite beverage that we talked about the last time we met, but you're happy, truly happy from within. Inside joke, folks, you have to go to season 1 and see that clip, that episode, and you'll get it.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, wow. Any last words, ladies, that you like? Last words. That doesn't sound right. Before we.
Oh,
Any
my.
final comments or thoughts that you would like to share?
Liz,
Oh,
I want to thank you publicly. I want to thank you for all you've done for me.
you're gonna
Okay,
make
I'll
me
get
cry.
the box of Kleenex tissues out now. Thanks a lot, Mary. We're here to make people laugh, not cry.
It's a good cry. That's a
It
Okay.
is. And the joy that I have felt and the self-discovery that I have found within my own being in working with you in your journey has motivated me to want to be a better person myself. And I can't thank you enough for that and for sharing your light with me, even when you were stuck and in a dark place. You provided a light for me to be able to shine in where I have some knowledge and some expertise. And I am unbelievably grateful for you for providing me that opportunity.
Well, this is just a love fest.
So there.
So there, you asked for final words, you got them.
You got them.
No, that is perfect. And so the podcast is a platform in which you have the freedom, the autonomy to share the best practices, your experience, the journey that you have undertaken, and being brave to open up yourself to share this with those who are listening and viewing this, and putting yourself in a vulnerable position to do that. So kudos to you for being that bold and brave to share a little bit of your journey to support others who might be struggling and might be experiencing similar feelings that you had in the past. Your story is an encouragement to them, I'm sure. And Liz's story is also an inspiration to others as well. There's no excuse for any of us to say why we can't accomplish the goals that we need to accomplish in order to become successful. So thank both of you ladies for sharing.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Well, we like to end the podcast by always saying, we have faith, we have hope, and we have love. Lots of love was shared here today. And so the greatest of these is love. So continue, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to love yourselves and to love those who are close to you. Love is that great power, that great force that helps to bind us together. And it accomplishes so much when we do love each other. And of course, loving ourselves. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us here on Positive Solutions with Dr. Gordon. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you for joining Positive Solutions with Dr. Gordon as we learned about different perspectives of contemporary social and educational issues. We hope to educate and encourage as we analyze those topics that are important to you. Please continue to join us every Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, as new episodes are uploaded on your favorite podcast directory. Remember, become that positive difference that creates a positive outcome in the lives of others as well as in your own life. See you next Sunday afternoon on Positive Solutions with Dr. Gordon.